Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mark for Audio 46. Today, I'm going to be using and testing the new Aspire from 64 Audio. These are a monitoring, musician-friendly IEM, specifically designed for performers. There's 4 drivers in there, and this thing is packed with goodies. So I'm going to show off what's in the box. Before I begin, I just want to say I really appreciate the comments, all the support I've been getting. So please make sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to Audio 46. This is kind of new for 64 Audio because they're well known for making products that are designed for audiophiles and come with that hi-fi price tag. At $8.99, this is an entry point to the 64 Audio line, and it's one of their cheaper products. $900 isn't necessarily going to be an entry point for most people in the IEM world, but it is for 64 Audio. They make some really great products that audiophiles tend to enjoy a lot. So it's pretty interesting that they're making a product that's geared specifically for performers. To move on to the looks of these IEMs, they're gonna be really subtle. There's not really much going on, and they're really simple and sleek. They're not going to take away from your performance, and they're not going to be too noticeable on stage, which is a great feature. I really enjoy that. This isn't so much of a criticism, but just more of a personal observation. I had a hard time getting a fit with these on my ears. We all have unique ear shapes. So with that in mind, my ears may not like the fit of these specifically, but they might be great for you. The good thing was that there were so many ear tips that came along with this product that I was eventually able to find one that did seal. Usually I wear a medium in silicone tips and foam tips, but for this set, I had to opt for the small foam tips. Those were the ones that kept my ears the most secure and gave me the best seal. Moving on to the design characteristics of this IEM, there are gonna be 4 drivers, 1 dynamic driver in the low end, 2 balanced armature drivers, and then another BA driver for the treble. At 104 decibels per kilohertz, at 1 milliwatt, these are going to be pretty easy to drive. I tested these IEMs on multiple sources, one of them being the iFi Go Bar, another one being the iBasso DC Elite, and I used the Questyle CMA18 Portable. All of them were able to properly drive the earbuds, and I didn't have any problem powering them. They're super sensitive, and they should work well with any wireless body pack if you're using an IEM system. 64 Audio supplies us with an IPX cable on these, and there's a special 45-degree angle design on the sleeve of that cable. So it definitely helps the fit out. It makes the wiring feel really comfortable as it goes around my ear, and the wires themselves are really thin, so they were very comfortable to wear for long periods of time around the ear. At the same time, I did notice that because the cable was super thin, it was prone to tangling if you were to coil it up. They're pretty high quality cables. but it is something to take note of. Other companies do make IEMs with IPX cables, and that's not new, but I was just curious about the interchangeability of different companies' cables with this IEM, considering there is that specific 45-degree angle on the cable. I think you'd be able to swap them out, but because these are IEMs designed specifically for touring musicians, I'm just concerned with the interchangeability, and if you're on tour and need a backup for something, or you go through a cable, how accessible will it be to find, especially considering if you do need the 45-degree angle for them to fit properly. Ladies and gentlemen, what I found most impressive with these IEMs was the staging. It's super accurate, and there's a really, really nice pinpointing clarity to these. There's absolutely no driver bleed. I'm not getting any signal coming from the right when I'm listening to things that are being recorded on the left or panned hard left. Things are very accurate, and the soundstage itself isn't like an audiophile soundstage where they're going for maximum width and height. There is some medium width on these, and there is tallness in the sound, but I wouldn't call it holographic. In a monitoring application, this is really going to be a strong point because you're going to get the accuracy of the sounds and make sure that things aren't being supplemented with reverb when you are monitoring for sound. And if you're on stage performing, you're also going to get that same accuracy and high quality. I personally think that these would be a great option as like a luxury gaming IEM. Having something this accurate could definitely be a strong suit and could help you in your performance. With this in mind, I think that there are some improvements that could be made to the sound signature that would just make it a little flatter and give it more of a reference kind of style. When I heard these IEMs, I noticed some things that I really disliked about them, but I also noticed some great aspects of the sound quality. I want to get my criticism out of the way first so I can explain the things that I think this IEM does well and end on a strong note. First and foremost, I think that the mids in this IEM need the most work to their tuning. What I heard right out of the box was that certain sounds in the mids did have a big drop off as you extended up past 700 hertz. This is really noticeable when voices in the mids do go up an octave or jump in pitch. When you do hear a transition from low parts in mid-voiced instruments and voices, and then it shifts up throughout the spectrum of sound, it's going to just sound thinner. What was most disappointing to me about this aspect was that there were transitions where tonal instruments would be playing rhythm parts like rhythm guitar or piano, horns, things like that. And then as they moved up in pitch for solos, you'd hear the drop down. And it was really strange because there were spots that were very ducked down and it kind of came out of nowhere. It doesn't happen all the time, but it still does happen. To me, guys, I think that a $900 IEM should be able to give you the fullness and sounds that you're looking for. Moving on to the bass, I wasn't too excited about this sound, but I understand where it could be useful in a stage application. Nothing's really poking out all too much, and I hear more of the upper bass than I do the lower bass. Bass voices do have a really good character, but they do sacrifice a little bit of the body and the palpable feeling of sub bass. This could be nice if you're playing bass in a band and you want to hear yourself with great clarity. I think with the way that the treble is mixed on this IEM, the sound signature is kind of competing for that sonic information. Because the bass is so flat on this, and there's a little bit of a boost in certain spots of the treble, things come out crisper, but they don't have that warmth and roundness that some more audiophile like IEMs are gonna give you. So I thought that the strong suit of the sound signature laid in its treble tuning. I was genuinely impressed, by how bright and sharp certain sounds could get. But at the same time, this IEM really wasn't fatiguing. I didn't have any problem with sibilance, and I was impressed with the way that they surgically tuned the highs. I don't think the ducks in the treble range are as dramatic as they are in the mid range. I think the strong suit of this IEM is the clarity that you get from certain sounds. And sometimes when you're listening back to specific instruments, it sounds really beautiful. Specifically, I noticed that sitars and steel guitars specifically had like this glassiness and this brittle character that was really nice, sharp, and cut through the mix really well. Because of the definition that you're getting, it's going to be easy to pinpoint sounds, but at the same time, you are sacrificing a little bit of that warmth and the body. These are still going to be flat IEMs, but they're almost to the point of getting bright. And in a reference setting, I think that that could be useful, but it really depends on the instrument that you're playing to get the sound that you want in your ears. If you're going for that thin, glassy sound, then I think that works for you. At the same time, if you really want a focused mid-range with a fullness in your sound that's pretty resounding, these don't necessarily do that. With that in mind, I do think that the $899 price tag is a little too much. A lot of people are competing for this price range, sub $1,000, between $800 to $1,000. So at $899, I think that this IEM is a little too expensive. I'd like to see the price come down to around $600 or $700. I'd say that this is a good IEM, maybe not so much for the price. I'd say in that respect, it might come out to average, but if I did see that price come down, or if you got these on sale, I think you'd be pretty happy with them. Keeping in mind, there are some things that I think 64 Audio could improve upon, and I don't think they made a bad product, but I'm excited for the Gen 2. Guys, I really appreciate the supportive comments and the feedback that I've been getting on these videos, so make sure you keep liking, commenting, and subscribing on these. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. Again, I'm Mark for Audio 46. These are the Aspire 4 from Audio 64, and they're available at Audio 46.